with Carmella-T. Thanks for being with me today. I have the cutest little pouch to show you. Some of you may have seen it on the short share. But if you are new to the channel, we create with our recycled materials, fabrics, and supplies. And it's our way to give the earth a little hug. This little necklace I'm wearing is totally thrift shop. Earrings, sweater, shirt, everything thrift shop. And they're very nice and comfy and high quality too. So with that, if you're coming back to the channel, thank you so much for coming back. I seem that we, as of late anyway, we have quite an interest in crocheting. And you know, we do all kinds of projects on here. And from our scrap fabric projects like Boro, Sashiko inspired, that is a historical cultural art, inspired by historical cultural art, and Kawandi. So we never forget all of the different projects that we work on. We just kind of go in a little circle and come right back to them. So I want to share this with you. First of all, I want to thank you for having a cup of coffee with me, being with me this afternoon. What are we on, Wednesday? I have to tell you, it's snowing outside so heavily. I may have to take a walk in the snow for the other channel because they love the snow. They love people who are not in states or countries where it snows. They love to watch the snow coming down in Vermont when it's snowing. So we have quite a lot of it coming down today, I think up to 8 inches. So we have a little storm going on. But I had to go out in it, and I'm very happy to be back here with you. So with that, let me show you this cutesy little design. It's just a little design. And I'm sitting over here, you probably notice, I'm sitting in my little comfy chair, and just in the corner. I'm in the corner. I put myself in the corner. But as I am sitting and working with my little granny squares and trying to come up with different little inspirational projects that my artisan participants in the class tomorrow will be able to do, I came up with this. And isn't that just seriously adorable? So I got quite a lot of views on another platform for this, but I got to tell you, I said, I know my YouTubers will totally love this. So I made sure, I'm making sure I'm going to talk to you about this. Yeah, isn't it? Hi, Chloe. Hi. Thanks for being here. Thank you. And you know, it was super simple, like ridiculous. You know what this is? It's a little pocket, right, from a pair of jeans. So you could certainly just kind of cut the bottom off of there. Oh, sorry, it's getting blurry. You know what that is from? The snowstorm. It keeps getting dark out. So let me get up and put another, I'm going to put another light on. One moment, please. That's what's causing the blur. So get another light on. There we go. Okay, that's good. Now we can see better. So this project, when you use a pocket of a pair of jeans, if you cut it the right way, you know, it's already sewn for you. I mean, you already have the inside. You don't need to add a lining to this, not unless you absolutely want to. And this is a prototype, which means this is something I'm keeping. This is something that I was just truly inspired by the yarn. As I showed you this yarn that I got at the reverse craft sale. Oh, that's okay. Thank you for being here. And if you're scrolling, stop and I'll tell you how to do this. So this yarn was only $1 at the reverse craft sale. So when I did this prototype, I just did really quickly whip stitching. So what I would do if I go back around and make another one, which I will be doing, I would use blanket stitch instead of the whip stitching. Or you could even do something like putting a piece of fabric there and just kind of folding it over like a back to front or something like that. Now, the other thing that I'm contemplating is I just made this little granny square, is I could put one on the back. I could put some fabric here and put one on the back. But I mean, and that's exactly what I did here. I put the fabric, and I was just kind of thinking, gee, I'd like to make a little Aboro Sashiko design. And so I stitched this on with a visible stitching. I don't know if you can see it, but there's visible stitching with the black thread. And then I said, you know what? Let me just see with the granny square, because it just looks so adorable against the buffalo plaid. So what is this for? So I thought of a couple of things. I was trying things in it. And I said, you know, no, you're certainly not going to walk around town with this, or, you know, to the farmer's market. So I'm thinking it's more of an in-house type of deal, or to have at your hub where you do your projects. So I was trying little things, or you could keep it in your car. Because look me, this is what I do. You see these icebreakers? I'm always moving them around. I don't know why. That would fit perfectly in here. I could keep that in my car. And so that's one thing. And then I tried, look, my crochet hooks. That's another thing you could just keep in here. And let's see if the phone fits, because I really want to try the phone. Yeah, the phone fits just perfectly. The thing is, with a little pouch like this type of handle isn't really adequate to hold it, but it's just for decor, but and to put like things. The other thing you could put in here, and I thought this was just the cutest. I actually may, and it's fine if you do this too, but just say, hey, Carmella coined it. So look, I mean, I can't even help it. I'm thinking, make it a little granny square holding pouch where you put all your little granny squares you're working on. Is that just not too darn cute? But that would be perfect to hold it. Okay, so that is one thing. That is the pouch. And not to confuse you, but I jumped on here to actually show you a different pouch that is WIP right now. I'm going to show you. So anyway, I made that one. I wanted to share with my YouTube community. So what I'm working on right now is a granny square. Okay, now this granny square I made a little while ago, well, probably within the last number of months, this particular granny square. So I'm finishing it up. Oh, let me turn it this way. And I said, you know what? Let me jump on to YouTube community, finish it up with them, because then I want to show you what I'm going to do. You may have seen this before, but it's the cutest darn little thing ever. And it's super duper easy to make. So for those, and so I wanted to also say that for those YouTubers out there, if you're in Vermont, or you're coming through Vermont, or you live in Vermont, and you know about the Little River Arts, come on over. Because they have a lot of different classes going on. So I wanted to tell you, tomorrow we have our Granny Square class. Now there are 10 people in the class, but I do always, if someone calls like last minute, I always tell them, yeah, go ahead, send them on over. Now with tomorrow, if there's any additional persons, we would hope that they have their crochet hook, and we'll have extra hooks, but it would help in that way if there's a last minute sign up. But what we're going to do with the granny squares tomorrow, and then guess what? Next Thursday, we're going to put our projects together. So what I'm doing is I'm bringing projects that are from very, very simple to moderately intricate. Not truly difficult, but moderately intricate. So you've got to give it some thought. You've got to do it, yes, a little bit measuring. You have to, be able to lay out, if you're doing clothing, a front and a back, that type of deal. So that's something I can help you with. And, okay, so check it out. And then if you're interested in the Tunisian crochet, I'm going to be teaching you Tunisian crochet over at River Arts. So if you want to come in person, you want to learn, be part of the class, there will be openings there. So just let you know. So the class is for tomorrow. It's full. It is full. But like I said, I always approve if there's any last minute registered paid participants who are like, I really need to take that class. Come on over, because guess what? We're gonna, after we make the granny squares in the next class next week. Hi, how are you, Martin? You can crochet, that's beautiful. I am going to present and introduce to the class. There's like, seriously, well over a dozen ways to connect your granny squares. There's actually even more. But I'm going to present a hefty 6, half a dozen, to let the class on part 2. So you can take your granny squares and start connecting them, okay? And that will be part 2. So part 1 is tomorrow, and then part 2 is next Thursday. So, but call and get some detail on it. And I'm going to show you what we're going to make here. We're going to make a little pouch. And some of you will be like, yeah, I've seen that before. And some of you are going to be like, just kind of surprised because it's so cute. So, but yeah, get your crochet hooks out. Now, you know this is a very traditional granny square that I'm working on right now. It's just traditional. And many granny squares, the major concept of the granny square is you want an even number of the circle if you're going to be talking about turning it into a square. But anyway, with that said, we'll get more into that in other videos so that you get the idea. Okay, so we finished this up. Let me just do, so if you do not know how to do the granny square, I do have a video of it on here. If you're not able to get to the class, I do have a video of it on here to teach you, to show you. So, but once you know how to do your granny square, then you can do this next part I'm going to show you in about 2 seconds. Okay, now I'm just going to take these tails, and this is my prototype. Oops, this is what I want. Now, when you have a thicker yarn, the smaller your crochet hook is, the more difficult it's going to be for you to crochet, because your hook will get caught really in between the strands that are twisted because it's just too darn small. Okay, so some of you may be having that problem. I don't know if you're aware of that. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so this is Granny Square, and I probably should be at my work table. But you know what? Today, guys, I am taking a break from my work table. I gotta tell you, we've had so much snow and cold. And I do love it. That's why I'm in Vermont. That's why I've been here 50 years. I love, love, love the weather. But we haven't had this for like 20 years. I'm not kidding you either. Not like this. So it's just, I'm trying to get used to it again. But exhausted. I'm exhausted from it. Okay. As many people are. Okay. So this is, let me just give you an idea. If you're going to try to make it on your side. So this is measuring, it's about 11. So that's a good size, 11 by 11. And what you do is, let's see if I can show you. I'm going to show you this way. You fold towards the center, right towards the center. Okay. Then you take this corner and you fold that towards the center. Some of you will recognize this as the Japanese method. I think it's called furoshiki, like that. I think that's how you say it. So let me just show you like this. And we're going to crochet it, and then you'll be able to see better too. So the corners are all like that, and then the top part is kind of the little top part of the pouch. But I'm covering it all up. So we'll just start crocheting. So what I'm going to do is, here, maybe I can show you like this. Hold on a second. I'll take a teeny tiny little crochet hook, and I'm just going to, and then I'm going to put them together. Okay, that's good. Do you see what I'm doing? Folding all three of those corners towards the center. So it makes a little pouch. Now, I'm going to sew what I'm going to do here as I'm talking to you is I'm going to start doing a single crochet to connect these. And I'm going to go up here to the corner and I'm going to come down. That's how I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to take a look at it and I'm going to see, okay, what else do I need to do? Now, this is found anywhere from a little hack to just tiny little pouches all through the YouTube community, the creative community. Now, some of them are putting a lining in on the granny square. I happen to like that idea a lot because what would you do with this as a little pouch? When you've got the little spaces here. Now, I learned a long time ago, I learned from doing my hats, the best way to do a lining, anyway for me, is put the hat together and then put the lining in. Some people will put the lining on the parts of the hats, so you could do that too. It's the same here. You could put the lining on the granny square as a whole first. The only thing the only thing I draw caution to is that fabric may be loose or wrinkly or kind of ripply because this is crochet. So you got two different types of fabric going on. Now, a sewist out there may have some tips to give us on how that may not occur. But I'm going to go ahead and do this. And let me get and let's see how this comes out. So I'm going to first just do one side. I'm going to let the other side down. And I'm just going to focus completely on this side. I'm going to make sure it's nice and straight. And Hold on one second. So I have 3 of these. So I want that to go right towards the center. So I, in fact, may start in the center. So I'm trying to think of what color to use. And I guess, I mean, because this is thick, guys, this is thick. This is, but if I do the purple, that's too thin. So I think I'm going to go ahead with this. That's not too thick. And you're probably thinking, well, Carmella, why don't you just use an embroidery needle and do a whip stitch? And guess what? You could do that. But I really like the look of the single crochet. I really, really do. So I'm going to go ahead with the single crochet. And I guess I could kind of put the camera down, but the thing is, this chair is kind of low, and this is kind of so we'll just do the single crochet as we're talking, and I'm going to show you quickly. Okay, you're going to see, because I'm going to grab, actually I'm going to grab, I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab the first 2 centered and do a slip knot. And I'm going to hold this up in about 2 seconds. And then I'm going to grab the 3rd one. I'm going to grab the 3rd one. And I'm also going to do a slip knot. And you're going to say, well, how do you know where to do that? So in the center. So I'm going to show you right now. Okay. So this, I'm going to hold it up now. Let me just get that loop up. This is not done, I'm just starting. You see, this is the best way to show you how I fold it. So what I did is a slip knot between this fold, this corner and this corner, and then I did another slip knot right here. It's all I did to begin. And remember, initially I told you, and this is just, when I say when you're process WIP, when you are working in process, it's a whole different story many times. But I was going to start down here. Now I still could, and I could just leave my slip knots to hold it, and or I could start from here and just go down. So I like it being held in place. Now, how do I know where the center is? So you see right here, when you make your granny square, you have 3 double crochets on that side, and you have 3 double crochets on this side. You know what you have in the middle? 3 chain, right? Your 3 chains. So you're gonna work as best as you can see and figure out your second chain, and that's the middle. Okay, so I'm gonna start down here. I do like the color of the pink, so I'm just gonna leave that. I guess, you know, another way you could have done it, or we could have done it, is just kind of tie. But I just did a little slip knot because I did think I was going to start crocheting right there. So anyway, I'm just going to leave that so it's in place for me. And now I'm just going to crochet. And like I said, I'm starting at the corner, and I'll hold it up in a moment. I'm using a smaller hook. I feel like I need a smaller hook. Hold on. That one even is too big. Let me tell you what I'm going to use here. This is H. Okay, so I'm going to feel better with an H. I think I picked up a J or K there. It just felt too big for me. Okay, so we can do either slip knots or single crochet. So I'm going to do single crochet. And I'm going to hold this up in a moment. And I'm actually, guys, working backwards right now. I am working backwards. So it's a little weird, but I'll hold it up in about 2 seconds once we get a good start here. If you don't put a lining, because it absolutely does not require a lining, it requires the stitching, but depending what you're going to put in it. Okay, so let me just get this so you can see. You see what I'm doing? I'm doing now. Maybe I can put the camera down. The reason I'm hesitating with the camera is the little stand that it's in is a little floppy. But let's try it. Okay. I'm kind of still on some kind of an angle here. I probably could crochet even if I was standing on my head, to tell you the truth. That's just, it's just crazy. I know some of you are like, yeah. Us crocheters can crochet. This is an angle I'm totally not used to, but you could crochet in your sleep. So I'm just going to try to hold it up. That's better, I guess. Okay, now you can see. There we go. You can see, and I can see. And I like working with a yarn that's just not the same heavy weight, because the heavy weight, if you do a single crochet like this, it's gonna be, unless you want it to be really kind of knobby, or have that ridge, because this creates a ridge. And it just really does, it helps you, in my opinion. The whip stitch is actually, even though it sounds like, yeah, that's an easier stitch, you're just kind of, but the whip stitch actually, I feel like, doesn't come out as pretty or neat as the single crochet, making like a little ridge. Okay, now we're almost to the top there. When we get to the top, we're going to stop before we're going to stop, and we're going to take a good look at it, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm trying to hold this down so you can see. So there are many other ways to connect, and I can't wait to go and teach the class on it next week, because I think some of them will be surprised. Many of the ways I already know, and I've known, and I've tried, but there's some ways that I'm intrigued about too, and I like to share. So this is really cutesy right now. Look at that, guys. I mean, yeah, it's coming out. Okay, so now we're coming to the center here. And my goal is, I've got these two connected, so I'm not worried about that. I just want to get to my little center part here and get those stitches in. So I'm going to take this out. And yeah, some people say, well, why didn't you just put a marker? Why did you bother doing slip stitching? Because the slip stitching just holds it, and I wanted something to hold it. So that's kind of what I was trying to do. I just wanted it held in place. I guess you could do pins too. Okay, so, excuse me. So right here, I've got this, and I've got this. So now I'm going to have three can you see them? I'm going to have 3 stitches right there, 3 top stitches right there. So I'm already in that area. So let me just go here. And you're like, well, can't you grab all 3? But no. I mean, I suppose you could. I I guess, you know, you could be creative and do that, but what I'm going to do is this. I'm just going to continue to crochet. And now I want to get this at an angle that is comfortable for me. So I'm going to go right through this stitch. Now, okay, so now I'm going to keep turning it so it's nice and straight for me, and I can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm going to hold it up just a tiny bit here. Now, you probably notice sometimes I'm wrapping the yarn around the hook, or like in that little try area, I put the hook through and then wrapped it around. The reason I did it that way is so I could see. But I typically do my single crochet with wrapping the yarn around like that and then putting it through. I looked up on Google because I've seen people doing it both ways, and it says that the stitch may be slightly different, but either way, when you use, for example, we're doing each stitch right now. I'm putting my yarn around, putting my yarn through, pulling it up, going through. They say stay consistent. So, because some people do it differently based on if they're left-handed or right-handed, or if they can see how they see better. And because that's exactly what I was doing, just in that little intersection, you might say, of the so as long as it's not hugely grossly you know, incorrect, like, you know, just not working, or, you know, is a knot, like you don't know what you're doing. I mean, you're using a stitch, but you're inverting maybe yarn around or pull through. That does happen. And I was curious about it, so I researched on that. So then I didn't feel so bad because I felt like that's what I kind of was doing. I just want to look at that for a moment. Oh, that is so darn cute right now. Okay, let me get the last stitch here, if I can see it. Oh, I think I did the last stitch. Did I? Let's check it here. Yeah. Okay, I did do the last stitch. Okay, so let me just close this with a slip knot. And then I'll weave the tails in later. Actually, I want to do one more. Okay, now. Oh, that's a really cute. Let's try to get these tails. So I'm gonna hold this up for a moment. Okay. Thank you for being here, guys. If you're just scrolling, we're doing a super simple project with granny squares. So let me just get these tails out of the way. Look how cute, though. You know what? Sometimes you just get the ideas just as you're working. You could put little tassels down on that too. I mean, that's a really cutesy. But let me get those out of the way. I just pull them in for a moment. Wow, I mean, I really like that. Okay, so this, okay, so now what we can do is do our single crochet going all the way up. And then you could put like a little button here, or you could put, or you can give it handles. Okay, so we're going to stitch around and then we'll take, but look, it's a pouch, guys. You see what I'm saying? Out of one granny square, you just see how cute that is? Now, I guess something like this, yeah, this would be a really cute granny square kind of pouch too, you know, to keep your granny squares in, wouldn't it? But let's do, for those of you who are not familiar with the single crochet going up, we're going to do that going um uh, around this, okay? And then we'll call it good. So let's see here. We still got some pink to work with, and that seems to be looking really pretty, the pink. You know, we could use actually kind of divvy it up a little bit and use a bright green. So let's try that. Not the teal, but the bright green, because I do have some of that right here. Okay. So what you do with your single crochet, I'm going to put the camera down for those of you just trying to figure out how to do this. Okay. Get to the way that's most comfortable for you and which way you're going to go. And find your very first stitch, which would be right here. First thing you want to do is a slip stitch, okay? That's the first thing. You can pull your tail in after. Do your slip stitch and then go ahead and go back in there and do your single crochet. And then you continue. Now you can do two things. You can work in between these stitches, the top stitches in the back loop all the way around, or you can go ahead and wrap it around like the whole stitch. You know, pick the way you want to do it because you don't have to do it any particular way. So just make sure whatever you choose that you're going to stay consistent, right? So I'm going to go ahead in the back loop and I'm just going to do single crochet all the way around. I'm using an H hook. I'm paying attention to each stitch. If I end up doing it 2 times in one stitch, I'm going to take a look at it and say, does that look all right, or does that make sense? See how I'm going in the back loop? So just typically when you crochet in the back loop, it's a way to make a ridge. Like if you're doing row by row, it gives you ridges between, and really pretty, between each row. And it will do that whether you're double crochet, half double crochet, it will do that. So, but this is just a pretty little, this is just an edging. It's just a pretty little stitch going around. And, you know, we could do loop-de-loops on this one too, you know, little fringe if we want to. But anyway, so I figure this will give you a really good idea. It's a super easy way to make a pouch. Give it a lining or bring your tension down so you don't have lots of spaces like I do. I just am doing this as, like I said, a prototype, and I just like to see the overall design of it, so I wasn't too worried about tension. But tension will make all the difference in the look of your project. It just does. If it's too tight, it could ruin a project. If it's too loose, it can ruin a project. So we're just doing a very simple single crochet, going all the way around. Super simple stitch. Nothing fancy. Could you do a double crochet all the way around? If you want to, you could. I'm going to turn it this way towards me because it's just more comfortable that way. I continue to work in the back loop because if you switch the sides of the loop, all of a sudden your little edging will twist. It will be on the opposite side of where you really want it. So stay, that's why it's important to like turn your work towards you. Because I mean, some people don't do that. You'd be surprised. They kind of work it at an angle. Like I was working upside down a few minutes ago. I didn't enjoy that. It just did not feel right, but I couldn't figure out how to really turn it without being at my table and having that extra space. So, but this works. I mean, you know. And so at the class tomorrow, I'm going to present a good number of other granny square projects that I've worked on in the past, and present to them. And of course, our little vest that we did the other day. We're going to be doing a skirt pretty soon, but I need to get more, I need to get cotton. I don't even have any. I want to make a skirt just a little more heavyweight than the lacy crochet thread. Now we could make a skirt with the lacy crochet thread. There's no reason why we can't. But it's going to take us a long time if we do that. And it's going to be very, very, very pretty. So we'll think about it. Now, when you get to the end like that, you really got to take a good look. And you got to say, am I at the end, or what am I doing? So we want to make sure this is secure. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to show you. You see how it's kind of like that? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm crossing over now into this next stitch and connecting. I'm not leaving it disconnected. Oh, look at that. I was actually ran out of yarn. Oh no, that's the other part I pulled in. Huh. Probably couldn't do that one again if I tried, but we got it. Okay, so now I'm going to pull it in inside for a moment, just so we can get a good look. And then I will weave those tails in after. So let me put this up here. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope that you're staying warm this winter. Now, oh yeah, that looks good. So this is your little, you know the idea I get from this if it was really big? I mean, you know where I'm going with this. Look, if this was big, big, right? It would be a hat, wouldn't it? Look how cute. That's how things get discovered. But no, this is a little pouch and I'm loving it right now. So what it needs is it totally needs a little you know, button or little tie, and then it needs, you know, a handle. And so this is a project when we were talking about blocking. So I'm just going to put this down for a minute. This is a project that I would, and this is the reason, I would block it. Because what I'd want from this particular project is, yes, I would like it to be a little more crisp, a little more shaped here. So this would be a perfect project to a block. And, or, you know, seriously, you can leave it the way it is. But I'm loving that. And so you could just, so what can you put in here? Like I said, I think it's a super good idea to use something like this as a little pouch for your little granny squares. So you see the size of it. Let me see something. I just want to see how big it is to my, oh, look, my phone fits in there. Hang on. Look, guys. So my phone, let me turn this down. So my phone fits in there beautifully. So you could just maybe put the tie here and use it as a little phone case. So you could do something like that. You can do whatever it is. Now, and this, as I'm looking at the little triangle at the top here, you can design that either to match perfectly up there with this point and that point like that, or you can fold it down more. So however you want to do that, and kind of maybe using this area and this area to put your little straps. But I think that's just adorable. And the other thing, let me just try something for the heck of it. I wanted to see what it looked like tucked in, but no, it doesn't look good. So, but anyway, I think that that's really cute. And I would call that like a little envelope pouch. That's what I would call it. And so with that, if you have any questions, let me know. And if you're in Vermont, you're going through, and or you're visiting, and give River Arts a call, because yes, we do have the class tomorrow on just making granny squares, the traditional granny square. But then we also have a part 2 where we're connecting our projects together, so it'll be a lot of fun. So anyway, with that, I hope you have an absolutely beautiful day. This is how it looks on the other side. Isn't that cute? So yeah, it could use a little block. I kind of like it kind of falling like that. I mean, for me, that's totally fine because it's still asymmetrical. It's still symmetrical. But if you do want it straight like that, you can, blocking would make a big difference with this. But anyway, so thank you for being with me. You have a beautiful day. I hope you got some ideas on how to do your granny square. And I'm going to go ahead with this, and I'm going to add a bow to this, like right smack in the middle here. And I might make it so it's a tie closure with that bow. I think that's what I'm going to do, just because it's so cute and quaint and simplistic. So with that, you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you in the next one. A love and light.